Hello everyone. Now you will hear a fast recap of the killer's film. Enjoy watching. A young girl runs through the forest in the hope of escaping from her pursuer, but the maniac still caught up with her and tied her to a chair in his studio. All surfaces are covered with polyethylene. Several cameras and lighting fixtures are aimed at Yumi. A man with a bag over his head talked to Yumi for some time and then smashed her head with a hammer. The killer captured the girl's death throes on camera. Then Nomura edited the footage into a video and posted it online from some internet club. The video was watched by Bayu, an ambitious journalist from Indonesia. The man has long been trying to put harm, a corrupt official who constantly beats his wife in jail. But the lawyer, as always, got him off the hook. Boy, you blocked a rich man's path and took out a camera. He reminded the journalist how he ruined his career. You tried to drag me through the mud and you lost. All in vain. The guard beat Bayu, broke his inner tube and punctured his car tires. Meanwhile, Nomura dissolved his victim's body in acid. Soon all that was left of Yumi was a red liquid, teeth and some hair. The Japanese man cleaned the house and went to track down a new victim. In the evening he noticed the unfortunate girl. For some reason, she wanted her brother to be hit by a passing car. The maniac began to watch the family at home. Bayu constantly watches the terrible video with Yumi. The man is on the verge of divorce from his wife, because of which their daughter Ellie suffers. In the morning, Nomura came to the flower shop where the sad girl works. He bought lilies and then drove the harmful man away from the children so that Hisa could see what a wonderful guy he is. Taxi driver took the dozing Bayu to a vacant lot. His accomplice got into the car and ordered the passenger to give him his wallet. Bayu gave the bandits everything he had, but they found a photo of his daughter in his phone and began to threaten the girl, while also pulling down his pants. The journalist lost his mind and grabbed his gun. During the struggle, Bayu riddled both bandits with bullets and crawled out of the car. Scared, this incident changed his life forever. On Emra, he managed to lure another victim into his car. I usually don't ride with people I've just met. Me neither. This time he finished off the girl by putting a baseball bat in her mouth and then feasted on her flesh. Bayu woke up at home and remembered how he had returned to the car the day before to film the dying bandits on camera. He also posted the video online, and now Nomura could appreciate his work. The maniac offered to talk to Bayu and first advised him to use different IP addresses to make it harder to find him. And he also congratulated the newbie on his first murder. He hardly wants to stop there. During a family dinner, the father-in-law began to pester Bayu. He said that businessman Harmo was a tough guy. No matter how much the journalist tried to prove that he was corrupt, he never succeeded. At the same time, the man praised John, his daughter's new boyfriend. Bayu began to have terrible visions, as if he had shot everyone with a pistol. That same evening, Bayu contacted Nomura via video chat. The maniac bragged about his nightmarish torture chamber. Nomura claims that he cannot control it. Each time you just need to choose the next victim. Bayu decided to combine business with pleasure and began to follow the lawyer. Nomura came to the flower shop again and gave his brother Hisa a game console. Soichi has autism. Hisa takes care of him. But there's not enough money for anything. Nomura constantly thinks about his sister, who allegedly died in an accident. Hisa took Nomura by the hand. Suddenly the Japanese man said that the best way out for her brother would be death. The sooner the better. The girl got scared and asked Nomura to leave them alone. That same evening, Bayu entered the house of lawyer Robert. The man was not scared and attacked the night guest. A fight ensued between them. Bayu stunned the lawyer and then chained him to the closet. The journalist went upstairs and saw a small boy chained to the bed. For this he will kill Robert with particular cruelty. In the evening, Nomura went hunting. He saw a night butterfly. You can't find easier prey. The maniac drove Meyer home and on the way began to describe the atrocities he was going to commit against her. But suddenly, in place of the prostitute, he saw Hisa. Nomura brake sharply. Mary got furious because of her broken nose and demanded that the rich kid take her back. Bayu tied the lawyer to a chair and turned on the camera. The journalist took off his mask and then doused Robert with gasoline. He took possession of the key card to the hotel room where Karma was now staying. Robert began to beg for mercy, saying that he had a daughter. But Bay threw a lit match at him and filmed the pervert's last seconds of life on camera. When the maniac dropped Midori off, Hisa called him and asked for help. But he had no time for that. Now Nomura was thoroughly worked over by the pimp, who took his money and documents. At home, Mora had a vision of coming across a tent in the forest. A man was sitting in it with dead bodies. "Look, this is my daughter." She asked Daddy. "Will this hurt?" He said. "Yes, it will. The time has come, and the killer will go after his family." Bo is angry that some guy spends more time with his daughter than he does. The journalist began to attack his wife Dina. John asked him to calm down. Bo had another blackout. He was ready to finish John off on the spot, but stopped when he saw his daughter. Nomura noticed the beaten Soichi on the street and decided to give him a stun gun. Nomura began to brainwash the boy, after which he suggested that he try his toy on a school passing by. In the evening, an excited Hisa called. She wanted to come to Nomura, but he advised her to stay away from him. The Japanese called his student and inspired him to deal with Dharma today. Nomura himself also went hunting, but he was again interrupted by a dark-skinned pimp. Nomura followed him to a nightclub and waited for him in the toilet. The junkie realized too late who was standing in front of him and paid for it with his life. Meanwhile, Bayo pulled a balaclava over his face and entered the Thomas room, but instead of a businessman, he found his son there. Bayo started to fool around again. He imagined that the man was reaching for a gun, so he shot him in the throat. In reality, it was a tin box. Bayo finished off an innocent man for the first time. He had to finish him off using a pillow. The floor was filled with the dead rich kid's guards. They began to search all the rooms. Eddie was soon found, but he used a gun to break through the crowd. One of the guards ran into the elevator after him, but the journalist knocked out the persistent pursuer. Others tried to detain the killer in a narrow corridor. Bayo had to open fire to scare off the mercenaries, but they continued to pursue him. Several hands grabbed Bayo through the closed gate. So, the journalist was left without a balaclava and jacket, but he finally managed to escape. Having dealt with you, Tenor Nomura wanted to finish what he started. He grabbed Miri and dragged her to his car. The drunk girl began to resist. Then the maniac knocked her out with a couple of blows and threw her in the trunk. It seems that he was noticed. Moreover, the witness turned out to be a cop. True, he approached Nomura because of illegal parking. The policeman glanced at the offender's license and asked him a couple of questions. It was time for Midori to get to know Nomura's fellow traveler better. He wanted to give his friend a present to show his work life. Why don't they kill the girl together? Bell tried to persuade the maniac not to do it, but he had already picked up the axe. Suddenly Hisa rang the doorbell. She had come to Nomura after all. The girl called the rich kid and realized that he was standing behind the door. Maniac invited Hisa and Soichi attacked a classmate. Now they want to expel him from school, and this rich guy is to blame for everything. The boy told his sister about their conversation. Nomura remembered his older sister again. He loved her more than anything in his life, just like Soichi loves Hisa. And she wanted to kill the boy. You are wrong, you wanted him to die. You don't know anything. Suddenly the captive fell off her chair, took a rag out of her mouth, and started calling for help. I warned you. You should have stayed away from me. Kissa realized that she needed to save herself and rushed to the door. Nomura began to list everyone he had killed. His own father was among his victims. Now it was Hisa's turn. Nomura lost consciousness. Hisa was about to run away, but she remembered the captive and came to her aid. The girl freed Midori while running away. They saw Bayo, who advised them to get out of here. Unfortunately, Nomura had already woken up, so they had to hide in the nearest room. An altar to Nomura's sister was set up there. And the worst thing was that her mummified corpse was lying on the bed. The girls began to fight back and smash the maniac's head. They were finally able to leave this horrible house and got into the car. However, Nomura still caught up with them and finished off both girls with a stationary knife, after which he called Bayu. He thought that Hisa was special, but he was wrong. Exhausted, Bayu closed his laptop and passed out. In the morning, his wife and child came to visit him. The woman is afraid for her daughter, so she intends to finally break off relations with her ex. But Bayu apologized and persuaded them to give him another chance. No one had seen Namura's sister before, and now the psychopath decided to burn her body along with the house. Bayu brought his daughter to school. It seemed that everything had worked out between him and his wife, but suddenly Dina found a gun in her husband's room. When Bayu returned home, he noticed the video camera. It recorded the murder of his wife, and Dina's mangled body was lying on the bed in the bedroom. Nomura could not allow another killer to be happy. At the same time, the Japanese did not even try to hide. It seems that he wants his student to finish him off. However, the man was hit by a car. Bae was pushed into the car and driven away in an unknown direction. Nomura immediately got into a taxi and stabbed the dozing driver with a knife. Nothing should interfere with the maniac's plans. The crumpled Bayu was dragged to the high floor of an unfinished building. Tharma was waiting for him there. Ali was sitting next to him, tied to a chair. The rich man cried, remembering how the journalist killed his son in cold blood. Bayu's fingers were broken, after which the bones of his foot were crushed with a stone. Tharma intends to make Ellie his wife when she grows up. The mercenary was about to kill Bayu, but Nomura shot him himself. He beat the rich man with a cane and finished off the mercenary with a brick. After you remove the handcuffs from Bayu, this is your end. Nomura intends to make another video. He threw a knife to the rich man. Bayu must kill one more person if he wants his daughter to stay alive. The journalist rushed at the old man with a scream and strangled him with handcuffs. At this time, Nomura removed the blindfold from the target so that she could see who her father was. The girl does not want him to touch her. By the way, Nara was joking he will still kill Ali, but Bayu did not allow him. He grabbed the maniac and dragged him to the edge. Nomura blew his brains out with a pistol. However, Bayu managed to handcuff him and drag him along. Both killers fell from a great height. True, Nara did not die immediately. A local boy filmed him with fire on his phone. Have a nice day, my viewer. Don't forget to subscribe.